Okay, y'all, so I'm back with part 2. This is my fabric. This is my machine. It's a Project Runway Brother. If you'd like to know more about how to use this and you have this machine, then I got you. What I'm going to do is just a quick little, try to do as small as possible because I am low on thread, and if you guys know, like I know, it's hard to come across right now, or it takes a while. So I'm just gonna put a little bit. I'm not even gonna back stitch. That's enough. It's not gonna take it out. I just don't want them to really separate. Clip and clip. I also brought my iron. Cut it on. Got my iron to kind of like press out the wrinkles. Let me see what you guys can see. Oh, this is the space I need to be in. Okay, pressing out some wrinkles, and you're gonna need this too for after you sew things together, to kind of press out the seams, make everything lay flat and neat. This is my print. This, I believe, was a 7.5 by 7.5. So I separate them from each other. This sub paper is just the cheap paper that I started with. Let me try to find the best position for you guys to see. I'm gonna move my sewing machine back because that's literally all that I'm doing right now. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same for this, and this will help me make sure that I do it on the right side. So when you're kind of like stitching it together real quick, just make sure your outline is within your secondary, like it's within, I guess. So don't have it like this. I don't know how to explain it. Don't have this part out here. Don't be out here like that. So make sure your pattern piece is fully covered by your back piece. So just really quick. Okay, it wants me to thread it and do all this stuff again. I'm not about to do that with you guys on here. Dang, but if I don't, I probably will forget. So let me just thread this real quick. And the beauty of this machine is, anyway, it's not about to do it. It has I'm gonna just show you guys at this other side first. So yeah, this is my area that I can work within. So, you press like this when doing sublimation. Paper on top, for the most part, substrate in the middle, and like your sandwich of blowout paper. So I'm gonna hit this just one more time. You could do this over at your press too, just like a pre-press. You could do that there too. I'm gonna do it here so I don't really have to move that. Okay. So it's flat on both sides, and this is the reason why I did this. Is also, like I said, it prevents a step, and I can keep everything together smoothly. Because imagining having to put two sets of two together versus making this basically move as one piece and only have to connect it with this twin basically. So I'm gonna put it here. Boom. I don't know if you can see, but I can actually see through for the most part. This is my star, this is my cowboys. But if you're having a hard time, all you have to do is pull back a layer. Okay. Pull back a layer, and it basically shows you where everything is. And like I said, make sure this is a part of me using that purple. I can still see that. So you can even bring it close to this line, but not too close. Okay, so that's a good part to hit. This is always going to fall in an easy space. But if you're like me and you put wording in a particular place, I want to catch all those words. So here I can see this is the end, this is that. So this is pretty much in the middle of it all. Okay, like that. So I'm going to use a little heat tape. I would say you don't have to. I'm still let my press get a little hotter. But you don't want to mess up and keep wasting supplies and materials. And if you're charging people for this, they surely don't want, they're not going to have any understanding. Because you put the work into it, you might as well do it right, basically. You're going to do the work, you might as well do it right. And typically just one up here. So I can even flip this around now and kind of do this. You see that? That's a piece of my polyester, so it won't flip down. So, and it's basically ready to go. So I'm gonna put this to the side until my heat press warms up. I'm at 4. I'm gonna go ahead and thread my machine since I'm waiting. I'm at 404. Like I said, if you've watched this channel before, you know that I'm big on knowing your own machine. Most things are supposed to read 400, but mine, it must be off, or not even off, but it does best at 430. And people usually do a few seconds. I do 2 minutes, basically. It's a matter of preference, and you literally have to get you some scrap fabric and find what heat settings work best for you using 100% poly. So if you find that vibrant sweet spot, then that's what you keep going with. I don't even adjust pressure. Now, I wouldn't suggest that for everybody, but I just don't, because if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of person. So I'm gonna go ahead and, like, for example, my first way of trying to do this was broken. Just broke down. Okay, so that was even too much. It don't have to be that much. Pulling it on out. Okay, now to prep you, being on the wrong side. Flip this, and be sure when you iron. Oh, this is another thing. These little strings, make sure they're gone, because on one of my, I think it was this guy. You might not be able to see it now. You might not be able to see it, but some string kind of got in the mix. And of course, if there's anything in between your sublimation paper and your substrate, it's going to take that ink. It's not going to make it to its final destination, basically. So I'm gonna do this one more time. Here I am with my sheet. Putting this down. And I want to say thank you to anybody who has actually taken the time to watch this video. I appreciate it, because I do this selflessly with a lot of people in mind, just to make things easy and to help you guys generate money and be creative. This same technique applies to any type of design. Say you want to make bras or some cute little shorts or something. If you know how to make your pattern work for you and use your poly in a way that you can create your own textiles, that's a way to generate more money, and I'm all for that. You have to switch it up. You have to be diverse. If you're a person that just makes t-shirts and stuff, that may work for you, but so that didn't stick at all. It works for you, but you want to always keep evolving, basically. It could be your bread and butter, but keep evolving. Because if nothing else, you just add a bunch of skills, and you never know when skills are coming into play. Like now, I have very minimal sewing skills, but during this time, it's like my number is called. Like, let's do it. Do this. Make this. Because I'm offering a service that people are really not thinking of. People love custom. And here I am. Right now, you have to wear these masks. So, some people just want to be different and be custom. And that's, you know, like, that's what I'm here for. That's who I'm here for. And I want to help you guys too. So, my press is ready. My sheets are basically down. Let me see. Let me move this over some more. Hold on. Because, yeah, kind of keep this in the middle. Once you go on, you'll be able to tell what parts are typically going to make the cut and actually being on your mask. So I'm gonna move this just a little bit here so I can basically get this whole little glitter cowboys part. And this is gonna be your outside of your mask, so you want to be sure you get your glam and glitz together. Okay. Okay, and you can see here, this is the tip of my pattern, and this is where the square stops. So if you're using that little square pattern method, you should be good to go. Now I'm going to get my blowout paper, and this is your first time watching my video, I just use regular paper. This is something that I started off with to try subbing on, and then I discovered sub paper is the way to go. This will actually allow me to get both sides done at the same time. Okay. Okay, so everything's down. Then of course my top sandwich paper. And then I can just take it over to my press like this. Okay. Okay. And we just keep our fingers crossed until the end. So, let's see if I can do this in a minute. Let me turn my iron down or off. I don't know why this says 2, because it should be 1. So I'm gonna go back to my inner piece if I can find it before I run out of time. Another thing you'll know, I misplace things. This is a channel where we misplace things, and it's okay. Okay, so if you remember, this is where I did the seam allowance. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and do that. I have about a minute. And don't forget on your edges when you're coming in, and this also to be pressed as one, as a unit. Press it as a unit. Bring it on over here. Lay my roots. Go up some, and you back stitch. You most definitely have to back stitch. I really think in all sewing projects, but specifically in this, let me see, bring it a little bit closer, because people are gonna be washing it. You know, if you're gonna charge 20 bucks, 15 bucks for something, you don't want to, you want it to be a disposable mask. You want it to feel like value. That gets you a return customer. So like I said, I'm basically following this line. Sometimes I have to move my foot to kind of, you know, bringing it over here. I'm gonna switch gears. finish this though. Because this what I'm doing right now is exactly how you will sew these pieces together. And I'm going to show you once you've pressed it. It's so easy for your poly and your cotton, in this case my yellow, to move like as one, because they've been pressed, they've been ironed down. It's easy for them to move like one. Trust me, that is the way to go. And you see here, this is a little where it's not lining up. As long as you have this outside piece and follow the pattern, you'll be fine. Know that when you get here where it's kind of overlapping, like I could have lined that up a little better, but know that when you get here, you need to start you need a back stitch basically. And this same, again, this is seam allowance, so it should be good. I'm just speeding it up a little bit. I'm gonna leave this real time because it does take a little time. So whichever piece is on top, that's the piece that you're gonna use as your new pattern, and it'll make sense in just a second. Like, hold on. Okay, so I know that I've made it to the end of my bottom piece, and so I'm just back stitching again. I'm gonna come back, do it for a stitch, back stitch one more time. Okay, and I'm done. Okay, I don't know where these little scissors came from. Okay, moving this out of the way, coming back here. So this is how the other side looks, and you see this is where we're stopping. This lines up with this outside piece, and that's what I mean by saying this part is going to continue to be your pattern. So you could even clean this up if you want. And it's basically going to make sure, okay, you'll be able to at a glance look and make sure it's all in line. Let's see. So this other side just basically adapted to what we had going on. And you have your iron. I know y'all want to see this. I know y'all want to see this. To basically come in, press things down, press the seams. So with this being your inner piece, it's going to be like this, but you want this to possibly lay down. You could split it this way, or you could do it all to one side. But to me, this does need to be ironed out. This could even be trimmed up some. Not ironed out. I don't know, it's not a huge deal. It's just one of those peeve moments for me. And this can even be trimmed down some. You know what? I'm not going to trim it down. Yeah. Not going to trim it down. So this is, let's reveal. 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 Okay. I don't know if you can tell, but I can still see my faint purple lines. You know what I'm saying? Like even like here where I was messing up. And it's not in the purple one. This is actually the blue. But you can see. And with it being stuck together like this, it's very easy to go ahead and cut. Okay? Very easy. Keeps everything in line. Let's see if I can get in a space where y'all can see it. I'm gonna just chop this off because this doesn't matter. It's not letting me hold things how I want to. So right here, I hope you can see it. This is it's basically my purple line. So, and this makes it easier to kind of cut too. It gives your poly more of like a backbone. Hope that makes sense. More of like a backbone. Yeah. So I do that part, leave it. I'd rather have to recut more than to overcut to begin with. Okay. Also here, same thing. Okay, and if you lose your bearings, you can get back on track. And you can, basically. Boom. You see that? That's one of your pieces. But if you were doing it the other way, you would still have to, so I really don't have to cut this across yet. And I'm kind of struggling to find my line. I think this is it actually. But I'm gonna leave this because what we need to make sure is that this part lines up with that part. Taking this off. Let's see. Oh, say. Okay, so this is the purple one, and you can really see much more of the purple. That's why I love that little purple glittery pen. But again, flatten everything back out. Cause like if your heat press is like mine, sometimes it jumps like crisscross. Okay. And I don't know if you can tell, but it gives me like a little glittery sheen to let me know this is the way, girl. Yeah. So that's pretty good for the most part. This piece, since it looks close to perfect, will probably be my guiding piece. However, I can see here, I can see this line perfectly. It's because, one, because it's inside out, the other piece is inside out, and I didn't get to use my glitter. I don't know if you can see, but I can. And this little curve is just I keep forgetting that I'm doing this for people. I hope you guys can see. Okay, so this kind of just makes it easy to line up. You can literally maneuver it and not have any issues. So this is where we start linking them up. Put this and this together. And that's a big thing when you're doing patterns and such. Okay, and I flip it just to kind of make sure it's all in a good line. A good little, pretty much as even as possible. So okay, so this is pretty good for me. Pretty good for me. This little, I'll just move it all. this little sliver, not the biggest issue, because if you remember, let me get my, is this the one that I use for it? Your number 1. So in the name of patterns, it's pretty good because this is still not touching this, basically. So I'm putting it in line. This just helps me double check some stuff. Yes. Making sure. Okay. So even if I wanted to, seeing how this bottom piece covers all of this, I could go back and rehash my pattern marks, if that makes sense. So keep this curve here because it's, and honestly, I guess you could do your whole pattern this way. If you want to press your squares and then link them up and then cut all at one time, that's your prerogative. You could do that. So with that being right there, your seam allowance will probably be like right here. And because I kind of fudged up a little bit, I'm going to actually mark that in. So while I'm bringing it around, I can see it. But if you see, what matters is that all 4 pieces are going to be where that hits. So right here where I kind of messed up, that does not matter. But when you start stitching, you don't want to have your stitch right here because that's empty space, and then this will just be flowing in the wind. So yeah. And guys, I hope this is a helpful video. That is my biggest wish right now, that this is helpful. I've really not had to do something this in depth before on YouTube, just because it's so much stuff out there. But with this being something that's kind of front line, it's not that much. It's some stuff out there, but people love to hear themselves talk and are not just, you know, like I want it to be simple and easy. Simple and easy. Because this is really affecting everybody's livelihood. So I have that down, and I'm just using a straight stitch. And look, let me see. How do I want to do? Yeah, I like to start from this tip because this is like the nose part. And as this comes down, this will usually be okay. Actually, I like to have more control. Save. I'm going to start on this end because this, with my hand on more material, I can easily do this. Okay. The line is still the same. It doesn't matter which part you start at. So let's go ahead and plant our roots. Okay. And let's basically try to stay on our line. Remember, back stitch. Okay, then bring it on back through. You don't have to OD on your back stitch either. You just want to make sure you do it. And I would have probably been a little bit more reckless, not reckless, or would have shown you this a few times, but I'm like so low on thread. I'm making this for somebody, well, for my husband's grandmother, also my grandmother. So when stuff starts to bunch, just let that presser foot up. And I'm not sure how good you can see this. Let that presser foot up, smooth it back out, put it down, and continue to follow our line. Okay. There probably won't be any parts of this video that's sped up, just to show you guys it takes a little time. And here I go doing stuff. Takes a little bit of time. So that's another thing. Keep this together. Keep this intact. Okay, keep it intact. Because you would hate to get all the way to that end. And that would have been like the first time that's happened. Of course, let's have it on camera. The first time that this has been an issue. So just keep going. There's really no rush to it. Don't, you know, promise stuff earlier than you think you can get it for real. Get it done. Like, I'm not gonna say, yeah, I can have 100 masks to you by Monday. Like, no. Because then there's more error. And what's really gonna grind the gears is if you have to redo this. Like, so you're operating right now with a lovely, charitable, decent heart. You don't want nothing to, like, you know, you don't want nothing to get in the way of that. And just get back in line if ever you need to. And don't think that, oh, I didn't follow the line 100%, it's ruined. Like, it's not. As long as you're making sure you're going through all of your pieces, you're good. And if you do something and you see you're not good, then if you have to add another seam, not seam, but, you know, one that successfully hits all marks, like right now I'm cutting it close, then do that. Okay, now at the edge, that's when we backstitch. We backstitch. We backstitch. And your backstitch needs to go through all pieces. Okay, okay. I'm gonna show you guys how you basically just sat here with me and made a mask. Take it up, press a foot up, a little clip, and it's done. Moving this out the way. Not done, but the hard part is over. So, and at this point, you can actually cut off your excess. Let's press it out though, just to keep everything, you know, moving as one piece. Just like how we did this, now we just try to keep things moving as one unit, one smooth operation. I don't know if you can tell, this is my seam, my secondary pattern. And that's kind of what I'm just gonna do.